Hey there, Chad here. Thanks for joining me. Let's play FarmSim25. And this is episode 2. We're picking up right where we left off. Bye, Walter. Yep, he's still looking. So, anyway, all right, that's enough messing around with Grandpa. Let's buy a couple of tractors. So, we're going to go to P. Nothing on sale right now, and that's too bad. However, this is interesting. This is a wagon or a trailer, right? It's a tipper, and we will eventually need a tipper. I've been buying one of the Rudolphs right here for 40,000. I like, actually I've been buying this one, and the reason I like this one is if you look at it, you can stack two, you can daisy chain two of these. You can buy a second one, and you can attach it right there to this one, so you can pull two of them with one tractor. I like that. I think that's an important feature. Um, it's not obvious when you can do that anymore. What I look for is if it's got the little, ball here to hook something up. It'll allow you to do that. These will do that. I don't know if this one is one of those, although it's bigger. So I think it's bigger. Yeah, it looks considerably bigger. So I'm not sure that would be quite as important for me. It does not look like it would be able to do that. But it's holding twice as much grain anyway. So I'm thinking that that's perfectly okay with me. That does include an extension that I'm going to pay for over the 16 or 13,000 list there, but it's still half of what I was paying before. I'm thinking I'm going to go with that. Oh, and we can have some special skins on it. I don't need that. I like the color. I think that's all good. Actually, a lot of times I'll change the chassis to black if I have a red top. I don't know why I do that. I just like that. We'll go ahead and go with that. Keep the extension. I don't particularly need wide or narrow tires. So to save the money, I'm going to go with the standard tires, but we are going to buy this used trailer that is bigger than we will need for a while. So I like that. Save a little bit of money there. We don't have anything to pull it yet. Got to get that taken care of. So let's go up to tractors. So the first tractor I usually buy is this old New Holland T7. I like this tractor a lot. It gets you over the 300 horsepower level if you max out the engine. It's a decent looking tractor, and I like the options of it. It's a sharp looking tractor. Now I'm not going to do the power ups or the panoramic window and things like that because I don't want to spend the money right now. You can add those later if you want to. But I am going to upgrade the engine to the 300 horsepower. There is a plow that requires 300 horsepower, and there's a few other tools that are in the 290 area that, if you happen to have one of those, it really helps to have a tractor that can pull it. I go with medium wheels with weights. I like that on this tractor, and that adds a little bit of money too. And then finally I do add a front loader, and I've been going with the Hauer. And there we have it. So for almost $300,000, close to half of what we have left, we're gonna buy this tractor. This will be my main big tractor for now. It's a medium tractor, but we're going to have it as our meaty one for now. And let's say buy. Now, this is another really good tractor. It's medium. It's a little more expensive, but it starts at 224 horsepower, and that's pretty decent for things like pulling a trailer and things like that. And this is an option to go with this guy as a second tractor. I don't actually need a second tractor right this moment, but probably by the end of the day I'll wish I had one. So that's why I'm kind of looking. And I do want to see what his setup looks like. If keep it on standard tires, what's medium, how much is that? It only adds 1,000. So medium tires gets me up to 250. We add a little power to the engine. We're at 255, 260, 271. Oh, you can go all the way up to 302 as well. I didn't know that. I probably wouldn't buy it at 302. I'd probably buy it at 260 or 240, 245. That might be where I would go with this for now, if I chose to do that. I'm also going to look at some small tractors and see if there's one that I can bump up a little bit that'll be able to do a little bit of extra work, but not be quite so expensive. $250,000 is a lot for a tractor, though not the limit, as we saw. The other thing I could do is wait until tomorrow and hope that a tractor comes on sale, and that's maybe not the worst path to take, because it is possible that can happen. Let's look at some smalls here. I think if I went with small, I was looking towards, was it the fence? So these are maxing at 171. I really want something that can hit 200 at the least, and I'm not seeing that in the small tractors. So for now, I might hold off and go with a second medium. Yeah. Okay. So I think I'd been doing a second medium. I like to be in that 200 range. Not entirely required, but helpful. Let's see if there's any. So the 300 and the 500, that's interesting to me. Okay, it's really just the price, I guess. And once again, you have the ability to make it design styles and things like that. I, again, would include a front loader. So if we max this guy out, we're talking about 175,000. That's 75,000 less than what I was looking at for a 200 horsepower tractor. This one's at 171. We're almost there. This might be a price point to take. So I'm not going to buy one right now, a second one right now. I'm going to hold off, and I'm going to think about that and maybe see if tomorrow I get an opportunity for a deal on a used tractor. We're going to need a plow, and I've been going with this plow for now. It only requires 210 horsepower. This is the one that requires 300. I think this one's like 450, 360. Okay. I might be thinking of a tractor I had at one point. But there we have it. I think it's probably worth just grabbing it, even though we don't plow every time. It's something you do enough that the early expense isn't so bad. So I'm going to go ahead and buy this one. What I really like is a modded plow that comes out that is a Lizard brand that is just, it's a comb. Basically, it's a 4 or 6 meter comb, and it's really easy to use, and I really like that. I'm not sure how realistic it is. I think plows tend to look more like this, but because it's easy to use, it's my favorite. They could charge 5 times what they do for it, and I would buy it. So. Anyway, we've just bought that. I bought it with the universal boards. I probably wanted to slat it, but that's all right. That's just a look thing, no difference in the functionality. So we have our plow. We're going to need a plow to plow the field we have right now. Something else we're going to need very soon is a fertilizer spreader. And I'm going to go ahead and go with I think this is Bradol. It's a little expensive, but this is something I will use constantly. I will take those contracts for fertilizing and bang them out with this very quickly, and it will pay for itself in a few game days, honestly. I do tend to like to have the extension and take the cover. Oh, there's a big extension too. I didn't realize that. Difference, 14,000, 11,000. Yeah, okay, cool. We're going to go with that. I see the big includes the cover no matter what. The small does not include the cover. It's a separate. That makes some sense. Okay, I hadn't noticed that. I knew that there was a 14,000 liter one, but I only saw this one up there, so that surprised me. All right. Anyway, I am again going to buy this as opposed to lease it. Just to compare, to lease it, it would cost us $1,000 an hour to use it on other fields. That would probably be okay, but we'd have to do fertilizing every day to keep up with it. And if I buy it, it will pay for itself very quickly. So we're going to buy this one. Got a little space for a tractor yet. Let me think if there's anything else immediately. Anything else that I need to get early on? I will probably be getting a cultivator. I will probably rent a seeder initially, since I only have 2 fields to seed. Once I have a few fields and I'm using it several times a year, that's when things start to feel like that makes a little more sense. Cultivator you can use in contracts a lot, seeding not as much. it feels like. I've had a lot of cultivating contracts, not so many seeding. And then you get into the question of all the different kinds of cultivation, right? We know what a plow does. Do you use a cultivator or a harrow, or do we go to with subsoilers? And it's fantastic options to have. When you don't know what each one does, it can be a little tedious and confusing. I stick with having a plow and a cultivator or a seeder that will cultivate for me, which is not unusual. I really like this one right here. This is one I use quite a bit, and it will allow us to cultivate as we go. When you're doing really big farms, there's some much bigger ones too that are good to use. Okay, enough about that. It's not something we're doing right this second. Front loader, I didn't take care of that. So I'm going to get the XB190, which is the piece that actually attaches to your tractor. And we're going to need that. Got to go in there first. Sorry, I'm like, why doesn't it have a buy button? And of course, I'm just going to buy that. And along with that, we'll go to combinations. I'm going to get the pallet fork because there is one other major purchase we're going to make today. And in the long run, a pallet fork will be very helpful for that. So we're going to hit that. But of course, we always have the option to go and get any of the other items. I more than likely will end up getting a bucket, a bale spike, possibly some of the round items. What was the other one that I saw? Bale handlers, yeah. Oh, a grapple for using moving wood. That's something, possibly a silage cutter. Those are all things that are potentially on the list and why we would want a front loader. So here we go. And we're going to tab into his grain is full. So this is where I need to do something real quick that I just mentioned. We're going to have another big purchase. So I turned off the autopilot here, the worker, and we're going to make one other change to this farm really quick. And to do this, I need to go to construct. Well, no, you know what? There's a different step first. So first, let's turn that off. That's what I should do. Turn that off. Jump out of there. Okay. I'm going to come over and I didn't buy a chainsaw. I'm going to buy a chainsaw. My understanding is they all do exactly the same thing. I'm going to go with the Husqvarna. And I now have a chainsaw and a flashlight. We're going to take down these two trees, and I am going to use lumberjack to just eliminate the trees altogether. The one perk I have about that, and we talked about it, so if you're using lumberjack, to do that you hold down Alt and then you hold the button for a few seconds. The tree's gone. It'll get rid of shrubs too that are just messy. As you'll see, it does not get rid of everything, but some of these uglier bushes in here, we'll take care of those for you. Now, something that I don't intend to use it for, but I thought I should at least mention, that's not getting rid of that one, is you can cut down other people's trees with lumberjack. And I don't really like that. I wish there was a way to say, yeah, don't do that, but it is possible. So I don't think I can get rid of these. Yeah, that's just grass, basically. You can mow that eventually. Okay, so we're going to build a little building over here. And this building will help us sell our stuff. So I'm going to back away because I want to flatten that land just a little bit first. Now, this is one of those areas where you got to be kind of careful because you're spending the money immediately. And you can mess it up pretty easily too. But I'm going to go down here to sculpting, and we're going to say level. And I'm going to find a spot that is at the altitude that I want. We're going to call it right about here. And I'm just going to hold that down, and we're just going to level a little territory here. Some of that's restricted, probably because it's too close to the street. But I'm leveling this, and then I'm going to put a little building here. And after the building's in, we'll come back and soften it up just a little. if it needs it. But that should move everything to the same level. Looks like it did. And then we're going to go into production to factories, and we're going to find the grain mill. What the grain mill does is it produces flour. And okay, so that shadow means that it would be above the actual ground a little bit. We want it to kind of look reasonably flat. Just going to put it right about there. And cross our fingers. And it looks like it placed it really well. So what we'll be able to do is deliver grain here, and it will turn it into flour. And we can sell the flour for about twice the price we can sell the grain for. And so at $36,000 for this little one, it is extremely slow, but it will pay itself off. And we'll be able to take the flour, sell it at twice the price. It puts it on nice little pallets, and we can deliver those to places that need flour. I'm going to use the softener now that I've done this to kind of make this a little less sharp of an incline. See that kind of leveling that out just a little bit. It's a pretty smart tool. It is eliminating the grass where it deforms it, so that's something to keep in mind. I think that grass will grow back, and you can mow it. If you replace grass with the texture grass by painting it on, that grass, at least in previous iterations, did not grow. So that's something to keep in mind. And just so you can see it, we have the ability to put trees and plants as well if we wanted to drop some stuff in there. I'm going to avoid that for now. I will eventually make this all concrete, and you do pay for that. And that's this one here. I might make it asphalt. Depends on which one looks a little nicer. You can do gravel, sand. Plates actually looks really good too. In fact, we could have done plates here, and I think that would have shown up as plates, even though that it put its own little concrete pad there. So there you have it. That's what we wanted to do. So with that done, I'm going to restart this. We're going to drive over there. And I put that there for a reason. There's a specific reason. I actually would like to put it over on that side, over by the silo, but there's a bug right now. And if you put it by the silo, it just gives you 130,000 liters of wheat when you start it. And I don't want to take advantage of that. That's a bit of an exploit, and there's no way to not have it do it. There's no way to get rid of it once it's done it. So if it's close enough, it'll borrow from the other silo, and it'll just use that silo's stuff. But there's a bug right now where it just also loads it up completely, just fills it up. And yeah, I'm going to put this over here for that reason. If in the future they fix that and I want to move it, I might take a mulligan and put the actual factory somewhere else at that point. Maybe return my money for the one that isn't where I wanted it to be. Okay, so that is done. And you know what? While we're sitting right here, let's go ahead and deal with that. I should have stopped that, but we're only going to be a second. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to start the factory, and all it's going to do is we'll hit R, and we're going to click on wheat. And what it will do is it will convert 5 wheat into 4 flour. So there is a little bit of a loss in the conversion, but flour sells at more than double what wheat does. So we're making money in this transmission here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that by turning it on. Also, we can have any of these running at the same time. I just don't have any of them right now, but we will eventually do that. I'm thinking I'm going to plant the one field with oat because oat does a 1-for-1 to flour, and I kind of like that idea. We'll see how that works out. Now, the downside is if oat only produces 80% of what wheat does, you're at the same number anyway. But there we have it. This will run all month, and it will be able to do about 252 cycles of 4 flour. So it'll produce a little over 1,000 liters, or 1 pallet per month is what it's going to do. Okay. Jump back in here and put him back on track. Now, I'd mentioned earlier that the AI seems to be smart enough that it'll just pick up where you left off. And I know that the helper would do that for the most part in the past, but the GPS did not. So by putting him here, he'll kind of figure this out and know, oh yeah, that's where I was before. So we'll hit that and he'll get started. Now I'm going to let him go at it. We're going to go pick this guy up. So here's our new tractor. Got a few things to do here. I didn't buy a weight, so that is something I need to do real quick. I'm going to want to buy a weight as well. But for now, I missed it. There we go. Okay. Lift that up, and real quick, we're going to jump into the store and buy a weight. There's a New Holland weight. I'm just going to go with that. I don't think you have to match brand. Haven't had to in the past, and I'm guessing you probably don't have to right now. But we're going to put that on the front. There it is. And then we're going to go grab let's grab the plow. That's what we're going to use first. I can just let these sit here, really. I mean, it's right across the street. It's good parking. I don't have the space yet. But as I buy things, it'll get a little congested and weird. So eventually I'll get them over there. This immediate moment, maybe I'll leave them there. And I'm going to put the front loader, I'm going to put it here on my patio. It's got a nice, oh, the weight. I didn't think about that. The weight is in the way. Okay. Yeah, normally I put the weight on the back when I have the front loader, but I have the plow this time, so I didn't think about that. Let me put the weight somewhere so it's out of the way first. That should be the weight. There it goes. And now we'll put this there. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. Makes a lot more sense now. We'll connect the weight and we'll get going. And while he is harvesting over there, I'm going to work this field. Now, I mentioned that there are some people complaining about AI. One of the things I've seen is Field 45 will not allow me to use an AI worker to plow. It'll do other things, but it won't allow me to plow with it. If I put him up here and I hit H, hold H, and I get AI worker and I set up the number of headlands I want and all the fun stuff and tell it to start working, it tells me AI has stopped work unexpectedly, no field found. It does not recognize this as a field, and I've tried all sorts of things. I'm not sure I tried driving to the middle though. Let's try it from here. Nope, he's not seeing a field for whatever reason. I do fertilizer on this field, he's fine. I do seeding on this field, he's fine. I do plowing, he's not fine. So let's go ahead and have him plow this field. I might skip ahead until that's done because it will take a while. This will take like 40 minutes of real time. Maybe not quite that long. It'll take a while. And I'm going to be doing it myself. So what we can do though is we can use the steering assist, and I have found that to be very helpful, particularly with plowing. There it is. Oh, and this one's way offset. Yeah, let's look at that real quick. So this is a way offset to the left. So as you can see, it knows that. It plugs that number into the side offset, and I could adjust this if I want, if there was a reason to, and there will be a reason to a little later. We'll show you why we might want to do that, but that'll probably be in the next episode. This particular episode, I'm just going to get this field finished, and let's see what we can do. Okay, I'm on my second pass on this field at this point, my second lap. And uh, because I can't use an AI worker on this particular one, I have to do this one entirely on my own. And that feels like there's some downtime because of that. So what I'm going to do is get myself situated here and ready to go. And then we're going to do a couple of other things real quick. Okay, so he'll be ready to start that second path here on the backside, but we're going to turn it off because it won't run while I'm not in it. This guy is done, so we're going to drive him over and dump off the rest of that wheat into that factory. Now the total was 8,000 plus the 3,266, so we have 11,266 liters. That's going to make just under, what would that be, 4 for every 5. We should make about 9,000 liters, a little more than that, of flour. So we'll have a nice little profit there once it's all done. The thing is that's going to take several months to completely process. But I'm opting to go ahead and just deliver it here and be done with it, as opposed to putting it in my silo first. Because I won't have to move it that way, and it won't run out in the middle of a month and lose some time. And I don't foresee selling the wheat. The total sale for the wheat that I have is not very high, so this isn't a game changer if I decide that this was a mistake. Okay, now we are leasing this piece of equipment, so the amount of hours it actually runs is important, so I'm going to turn it off. But I am going to also check contracts and see if there's anything else we can do in the meantime. I'm going to fold it up and turn her off. So we're going to jump out to contracts and harvesting. So I don't see any immediately. Nope, there's no harvesting, but never fear. We do a couple of these contracts, and what I've noticed is later in the day, you'll get more contracts. So I'm going to maybe do some of these, like the fertilizing or hoeing. Those tend to be easy, and frankly, I'm set up to do the fertilizing. I've got the thing across the street. The hoeing, use a cultivator or a weeder, and they tend to be very quick. These weeders run at a very high speed, so you're not spending tons and tons of time. Rock removal isn't really a problem. On this one, you're actually getting rid of huge rocks. This is a little different than getting rid of stones in your field, so that's something to pay attention to. Spraying is just like it sounds. Wood transport, this pays really well, but I've had trouble getting them done. The use of the equipment, this is not stuff I'm really good at. If you've been doing forestry in the game, you might be exceptional at this, and this may be very, very lucrative for you. A lot of times you can get paid for the pieces that you get rid of. In this case, it doesn't actually look like that, though. This is wood transport. I think there's another one called like deadwood. Deadwood is one where you can sell them afterwards. I had trouble finding all the trees. It had 7 trees to get rid of. I could only find 6 of them. I'm going to pick up a contract or 2 and get started on that, but we're going to go ahead and call this one closed. And if I find a use for this harvester, we'll jump back into the first day on the farm, August of year 1, and utilize that and kind of document that it was usable somewhere else as well and see what we can make with it. I'm kind of hoping that I get to do something on that huge field, because that always pays really well. And it'd be nice if a fertilizing or harvesting or something pops up over there. We'll go check that out here in a few minutes. And if I can, I'll grab that. But otherwise, thanks for joining me. Leave me your thoughts and your comments. I really do appreciate that. It helps me decide what content people really are interested in seeing. And if more of this is what you want, I'm happy to oblige where I can. Until next time, fair travels.